Welcome to the Tuka Talks show, where Tuka Tech founder Ram Serene talks to fellow fashion industry experts about the trending topics of today, the history of the apparel business, and the paradigm shifts that will transform the industry for the future.
Greetings from Tuka Talks. Today is not a planned Tuka Talk, and this is what happens in our industry. We start our day from something, we plan something, and something else happens. It's a perfect example of our chaos in our industry, in our lives. This morning I woke up looking at a LinkedIn post from one of my dear friends, Stefano Altighiri. Very interesting letter written by him to The Gap, open letter. Got me really thinking. If you haven't read the letter, I urge you to read the letter. So Stefano is Italian. My friend Adriano Goldsmith is Italian. So the first thing I did was get the third Italian into the picture, and his name is Sal Minicucci. Sal Minicucci is one of our directors in Tuka Tech and an extensive background in denim manufacturing. And we've been talking about the Gap 1969 from our last podcast with Mr. Goldsmith. Adriano was the one who started. So in any case, I thought we'll start with that. This was the original. For those who don't understand 1969, this is the original Gap 1969. Gap 1969, produced in Italy. And the style number was 253019. The sample size was my size now, 3630 inseam. Adriano, you did a wonderful job. So when I started looking at this one, I decided to call another veteran who you may not know, but you must want to know him, Jay Chung. One of, I would say, the pillars of fashion industry in denim. So when I speak to him about Ralph Lauren or Calvin Klein or Tommy Hilfiger, he's the only guy who worked directly with the biggest designers, whether it was George Marciano's and so on. Let me start with you, Jay. Tell me a little bit more about yourself.
Well, he's surprised to me. I didn't. I come to see him something else, but I end up with this jailhouse. So don't have much choice. Well, I came to the United States 1969, go to school. But make long story short, I end up with doing denim since 1974. Start as a sewing contractor. I never had experience in dealing with any machines. I didn't even know how to thread the machines. But here I am. So the denim was my life. And denim was one of the most beautiful and the best fabric in the world. I think a human kind produce. I love denim. When I have good denim, I can dance, I can romance, I can love. But when I don't have a good denim, I couldn't do anything. This is my life. Here I am with the Ram. He's one of the genius in the engineer, I should say. But sorry to meet him very late.
No.
we could meet a few years early. We could do much better things.
I
But,
believe in destiny, Jay.
well,
We were supposed to meet so I could learn more from you.
well,
Really, I have been to your place, and I must say, even after spending so many decades in the industry and in denim finishing, when I walked through your place, I was awed. That day, I was so excited that it would be like a kid in a candy store. And to me, that would be the designer's paradise, designer's wish. There's nothing that you couldn't do with denim or redo as far as your creativity was concerned. Of course, we talk about technologies and technical input to do a lot of things, but eventually a final product has to be made. I'm looking at this 1969, Adriano's work. You've been in the manufacturing a long time. What did you see here? Maybe you want to explain that. Where did this inspiration come in? This gap, 1969, the hole, the rivets, the
Yeah,
hidden rivets, and so on. Tell me a little bit of history about this.
thank you. Probably one of my favorite denim jeans. Adriano did a magnificent job of bringing over some of the most important aesthetics of the Levi 501. You know, beginning with the donut hole buttons that he put on here. And I like also that there are two different colors of thread on the jean. You know, originally the thread color on the 501s was this like a canary yellow. And it was later on that they came over and established their own gold.
Gold.
Yeah, the
Brown.
gold, the Levi gold, I believe it's known as. But, you know, when the Levi's first transitioned from industrial into consumer, they were still using these exterior rivets on the back pockets of the jeans to hold the pockets in. And the parents were complaining that it was scraping up their furniture, you know, the wooden chairs in the kitchen, etc.
Wow.
Sliding into a nice Chevy, you're going to tear the upholstery of the
With this
jean
little
open. This little
nipple.
rivet right here, right?
Yeah.
So I would imagine that through time, the word got back to the designers of the 501, and they ended up covering it. But here, again, Adriano incorporated the rivet, but on the jean itself.
How
they
genius
covered
is
it.
that?
Yeah.
Huh?
And then you'll see the little black stitch. This is also indicative of the older 501s on the red line, where they put it on the top here of the jean. So, you know, again, one of my favorites, even if you look at the back pocket, putting your hand into the pocket, you've got a single stitch. Why is that important? Because when you put your hand
From the back.
into the back, you don't want to scrape it. Right now, you've got people that use chain stitch on the inside of the pocket for the durability. But with this, Levi's knew it, and then so did Adriano. So it's magnificently designed jean incorporating all the, like I said, aesthetics. It wasn't even fashion at that time. It was just, hey, this is what makes it strong and what makes it comfortable.
One of the things that Stefano mentioned in my earlier podcast that I recorded with him that stayed with me, that going to work for Levi's was like going to Denham University.
Yeah.
So what you're telling me is the research and development, and this is the year Levi's just spent celebrating 150 years of 501. So this is not something just 501, but this is an engineered product that somebody really put a thought process in every little detail. I'm looking at something entirely different where the designers are trying to right now create what we call the distressed jeans. I have a pair of denim jeans here. Does anybody remember this? There is a little distress here. There is a little distress here. Levi's brought into creating a product with the finishes, with the embroidery, one by one, and individual garments, hand sewn, hand done. And if you'll be kind enough to tell me, what was the retail on this one? In which year?
That was 1998, and it was $598 at retail at the Ron Herman store on Melrose.
Oh,
Guess what? Quite a
RH.
few of our clients are doing this, buying the regular 501s or the Levi's, painting, distressing, and so on. This has become a big business.
Yeah.
So it's not
It is.
jeans only. It is almost like buying these pre-made jeans as though we buy blank t-shirts into a secondary market and then putting your artistic input. Do you think this is the future of denim market?
well, I think there's a certain clientele. They love this type of the things. But I don't think will be the future of the denim, but it will be a part of the denim business for rest of the denim life. Still will have big 10%, 15%, or 5%, but still will have this because people love the denim. You can have 50 years of denim, still good.
Yeah.
3 years of denim, still good. We are making anywhere from fresh to the 50 years old denim. That's what we call denim stonewash business. And we are doing the mending too, which is we put it in all these new things by hand sewing. So this will be go on and on, but I don't know how big will be.
Jay, you bring in a very interesting point. Your denim business, is not producing a $19.95, not even a $199 jeans.
No.
You're producing a $600 to a $900 jeans. But you're
Anywhere
not going to
from-
produce that many.
Anywhere from cheap one is about $900
Wow.
until the maybe $4,000. Depends on what we put it in on. Sometimes it takes 10 days to make it. Sometimes it takes a few days to make it. So it depends on what you put it on.
So here is a loaded question. Given the choice, would you work on a wholesale big production line or do this artwork by creating individual stories for few customers?
Well, myself, I've been doing produce thousands. But those businesses went to the abroad.
Asia
And
or
yeah,
Far
down,
East or
down
wherever.
south or Asia or Egypt, whatever. But what we doing in LA, we doing everything by in the American labor, and we are in a way very creative, and we are very hands-on to every single garment. And I rather do the business, this type of the business in state, not in the Asia, but state. This is the way to go.
I agree with you.
This is what we call the super premium denim industry.
Yeah.
I hope I answered the
No,
question.
I have been saying demand manufacturing, couture lines. We were discussing with Adriano in our last podcast. It's very common. A lot of people used to relate to denim as a basic denim jeans. Not in California. In California, you could be, as you said, $4,000 jeans and $10,000 blazer, or $4,000 blazer and $1,000 jeans.
That's right.
But it's jeans. It's denim. It's denim has been elevated to more of a couture lines when I see this kind.
Mhm.
Whoever started doing what I call the customization or creating artwork onto the clothing, but tastefully done. There are three different kind of leathers in this one. Each and every one is done differently. There's hand embroideries in different kinds, okay, and they're done differently. So these are the kind of things that one can say, I can do it. No, it's not. It's just a matter of saying, Van Gogh, okay, that's an artist. Or
Yeah.
there's a guy who's sitting on the side streets creating an artwork selling for $19.99. I mean, that would be my way of explaining, I think.
It's true.
This is the one of the garment on the industry is you create the art piece, not the simple denim piece.
Correct.
Each pants has his own character,
Mhm.
and it's just you have to put it in a lot of your soul to it. That's what this industry whole thing about. Especially this couture denim business is something you must have artistic and art. It is a piece
Fusion.
of the piece of the artwork, really.
Let me take this to a different direction. Denim is all about fit. Fit is where fashion starts. If it doesn't fit, you can have the best looking garment. It's not going to sell. Do you feel that somebody is going to come up with a business model asking people to go get the best fitted jeans and send it for customization? No different than, I have this picture, please put that into the proper frame and proper sighting and so on to make a presentation. Do you see that future? Do you see yourself doing that?
In a way, yes, but it's not going to be a big way.
Oh, no,
Why?
of course not.
Everybody is so busy, and I don't have time to go to the place to the like a custom made.
No, I'm sorry. No. You have a business
Uh,
where you are known to be the artist for denim products.
okay.
You establish yourself a reputation that you are the art house. You create amazing denim products. To get started, you have to start with blank denim pants.
Correct.
Can people, do you foresee people getting people fitted in the garments and then having those finished to $1,000 garment or a $1,500 garment?
Mhm.
So I'm going to go one more step. I have another customer who does made to measure denim. Can you and them work together that they do made to measure denim and then you do the finish and the customer get a product which is not only fits perfectly but also looks unique?
Yes, I do. Modern technology, we do have up to there now. People is not using it, but the way it's happening now, the way it is right now, we could accommodate that industry or customer. Yes.
Folks, I am not patenting this, but this is a copyrighted idea. If you ever get into this one, send me 5 cents per garment of the $1,000 jeans, okay? All jokes apart, gentlemen, let me ask two of you, both veterans in the industry, what is the biggest mistake you made?
I love the denim too much. I couldn't get away with it. I sleep with it. I eat with it. I make money with it. I cry with it. I love with it. That's what it is. I love the denim.
So you got obsessed.
I just hooked into it.
What did you lose in there?
Well, I lost a lot of things I could do,
Yeah.
but I'm 100% in the denim.
You and I had that discussion. And we're both first generation immigrants in this country. The time we lost
Mhm.
that could have been dedicated to our families,
Mhm.
children, that was a sacrifice.
Yeah. Well, we had to sacrifice a lot until now. I didn't have really my personal life. I was, typical first generation, immigrant generation. When I cannot do the 8 hours, I didn't hesitate. I put it in 16 hours. If that is not enough, I wouldn't mind to put in 24 hours. That's how we made it. I made it up to now. I'm very proud of myself. And I thank you to all my families. They understood their support. I don't know. I'm lucky or not. I'm still.
No. There is always a silver lining in all this. There are lessons learned, balancing life lessons, but also you're also being an example to your children, to your family, to your coworkers, that the dedication, the hard work is the only way to make it. Children don't listen, they watch, they see you, and they do the same things. As far as the advice is concerned, what advice would you give to somebody who wants to get into the fashion business, the startup company, the new companies?
The fashion industry is very tough. If you are ready, you must put it in 150% of your time and effort to do what you do the best and what you like to do the best and what you like to success in this industry. It's a very, very tough.
So passion. Pursue your passion.
You must have a passion. You must have a passion to do this industry.
Yeah. It's not about business. It's not about money.
No, it's not about
No.
money. No. You need to have
Money comes automatically.
Yeah. And I never worry about the bread.
Mm.
But you must have a passion. You must have a passion. This
Correct.
is it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mr. Minikuchi, ciao. Take us to a little bit of a journey,
Yeah.
your journey.
Yeah.
I know it, but I
Yeah.
just want my friends to know your struggles, your fights, your successes, and your advice to the startups. You've been a great success in the industry. You've earned a good reputation in the marketplace. That's the reason why we brought you in to Kotek, so that we could learn more from you and share with everybody. Share something about denim that you feel, whether it is why were you holding all these 1969s?
Right.
So start with that.
Yeah. Similar to Jay, the love of denim. And for me, as a poor college student at the University of Southern California, 1988, I needed to find a side hustle, and it became transshipping Levi 501s from Los Angeles to Spain. It was a big market in Spain for the made in USA 501. Rigid and washed, and then they got into white. And I found myself going into JCPenney's and Sears and Mervyn's and buying as many of these 501s that I could. And I'd look in the newspaper for a 20% or 25% off coupon and roll in there with a bunch of cash in my pocket and people just clearing the shelves of J.C. Penney's and Mervyn's, just taking every 501 that they had and putting it in boxes and sending it to another business partner that I had in Spain. And that just taught me not only the hustle, but the beauty of the 501. And I just never let go of that. And eventually got into the secondhand jeans business, and to the extent where I built out my own laundry and was removing oil, grease, and paint off of these dingy, smelly,
Old
501s, beat up and the crotches torn out or the knees or the seat or whatever. But I figured out different chemicals and how to remove it and stitch them up again and put them back on the streets. And I had some of the best retailers in the United States buying these 501s. And I stuck true to that secondhand 501. My regret is that I didn't pivot. I didn't pivot fast enough when I built out this laundry for my 501s. And the women loved the 501s. It was the right fit for them. But then other designers came on, Sir Fontaine, and there was a couple other brands that made the small fitting jean for, the women. And all of a sudden my jeans were not in great demand because there was a better fitting jean for a woman. And I didn't pivot into turning my laundry into a laundry like Jay's that just washed jeans and started putting some effects on them.
I'm sure if I go back to the historic data,
Yeah.
you're the one who screwed up the stats as far as the sales in the United States and the export from the United States for 501.
For sure.
You're singly responsible. The receiving country was Spain. But it's a great story because I know there are a lot of youngsters right now in India with money who are actually coming in, buying made in USA designer products and going back there and doing auctions and really, really, really making a lot of money, okay? So this thing is trade. This is not innovation. What you said, the second one was innovation.
Yeah.
What motivated you to do that? The cleaning and washing.
Because
who came up with the idea?
Well, because the supplier that I was buying from, he wasn't able to make a lot of them. So I did some research and I figured out, well, if you can't give me the quantities that I want, then I'll make my own quantity. It's really what it came down to. Because I had a bigger demand than I had supply. So I filled it by opening up my own factory, if you will.
Do you remember what the selling price of 1969 was?
I don't.
Do you?
I really don't.
I certainly don't because I was still in college.
Yeah.
I think when the 70s,
Yeah.
501 around the $27 or $29.
No.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
501?
Yeah. Guess was $42. Calvin Klein was $42 retail. And when you go to the Penny, maybe you could get it cheaper than $24, maybe $19.95, something like that. Those days was.
But then what happened to Levi's pricing? Because for years and years and years, it stayed under $30.
Once,
Correct me if I'm wrong, okay? Hey, put a comment, okay? But I don't make any claim of being a retail or marketing specialist. I'm a cut and sew engineer, okay, guys? Put me a product, tell me to engineer a factory, and that's where I made my fortune by selling brain power. All these guys were working with hands, and I was working with this, okay? Bottom line is we need both of them. We need creativity, and we need some kind of hard work, some kind of common sense. I certainly believe that denim is never going to go away. And denim will keep on reviving itself to a new height. When I say new height, you are the new height. First time I found out in America, you're having a product which is starting at $900 and going to $4,500. What would you like to tell our listeners? Anything in particular?
Well, denim is originated in California. I still think made in USA denim is the best. And unfortunately, all this main production went to the overseas. And that's what we created. It's a beautiful denim. It's a little bit over manufactured. So the way I see it, this market is still made in USA. Denim is the craftsmen and ideas and quality is made in California, especially made in Los Angeles, and the best. That's how I say it. And going forward, I think that we're going to keep it that way because we don't negotiate the quality or the artwork we are doing currently. We're going to keep it up, and we're going to lead the industry and the denim.
Sal?
Indeed. Denim is really, it's the reflection of an emotion that day, that morning, that evening, when we wake up and we're getting ready to go out. How do we feel about ourselves? And that's the beauty of this one fabric, is that it comes in so many fits and so many colors and so many different types of aesthetics that are associated with it, that it helps each and every one of us of all sizes and all ages to reflect how we feel, right? And what we're thinking about. And it gives us this starting point to really accessorize everything else. So now what sweater am I going to wear? And what shoes and what belt and what jewelry. Oftentimes you can begin with your pants,
And
denim
then
pants,
dress it up.
and go from there. And that's the beauty. And to Jay's comment is that it's just continuing to grow. It's not going anywhere. It's more than a staple. It's how we begin, I think, our day most of the time.
So I'm going to wrap this one up with my thought process, listening to both of you. And subject is denim. And I've been saying this, that the next revolution, fourth revolution in the world will come from manufacturing. And it's already been happening in denim for a very long time. Example is products like Levi's. Levi's 501 is made in a lot of countries. It's the same standard. It's an American product. But American product can be made in America and sent all over the globe, or made in Bangladesh and sell to India, in Pakistan, to Bangladesh, or whatever, whether it is the manufacturing for the demand in those countries or nearshoring. Like, I very strongly believe in America, we will make for America. If we can't make it in America for America, we will nearshoring. China will have a new name for Americans called Mexico, or El Salvador, or Guatemala, or Central America, because this is the hemisphere where we can actually satisfy the demands without having to take positions on huge inventory levels, not knowing what to do with that. Do you guys agree or disagree?
Yes.
I do agree.
Thank you so much. And like they say in the movie business, this is a wrap. Thank you so much. And Stefano, one more time, it is all your fault. You got me started this morning, and I've still been thinking about what you wrote in this little letter. We'll be sending the letter out to everybody else too. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to this discussion presented by Tuka Talks. If you found something in this conversation insightful, we would love for you to click the share button and send this episode to a friend.